Hello and good day. Welcome back to our class. This is teacher Onity Guzman and our topic for today is cash management tools and techniques for business finance. So again, speaking of cash management, it is the proper matching of total cash requirements for a particular period against the available or expected inflows in that period. Also, in the process of addressing cash management, the financial manager uses the cash management tools and techniques. So let's talk about the cash management tools. So the first of which is the cash management tools or financial management mechanism that determines the expected cash inflows and cash requirements. They assist the business in determining optimum level of cash. Speaking of which, we have the following steps. So we have cash budget preparation, so it means that the business determines the expected cash inflows and the corresponding cash outflows from the various business activities. The second one is the cash break-even computation. So it means that we will get, okay, that the inflow is the same as the outflow. And the third one is the cash management model. So we will move on to cash management tools. So the first one is the cash break-even computations. So it determines the amount of cash sales needed for the total cash outlays or requirements be equal with the total cash inflows from the cash sales. So again, so fixed cash outlays are cash requirements that remain constant during the month or period. Then finally, we have actually the variable cash outlays. These are the cash requirements of the business that vary with the volume of sales. Here are the steps in cash break-even computation. So the first one is determine the cash contribution margin. Meaning to say, so we have the cash less variable cash payment. So this is equal to your cash contribution margin. The next one is determine the cash contribution margin. We have the cash contribution margin divided by the cash sales. So this is your cash contribution margin. Then number three is determine the cash break-even point. So say for instance, we have the fixed cash outlay. Then we have divided by the contribution margin ratio. So we have the cash break-even. Let's have an example for the cash break-even computation. So number one is Yap Manufacturing Company produces metal parts for industrial users. The following data are presented about the company's operations. So we have the monthly units produced and sold as 600,000 units. The selling price per unit is equal to 8 pesos. The fixed monthly cash payment is 240,000 pesos, while the variable monthly cash payments is 40% of sales. So if we want to determine, okay, the cash contribution margin, so let's have the cash sales of 600,000 units times 8 pesos, so that is 4,800,000. Moving on to the less, okay, cash variable outlays. So we will get 480,000 pesos times 40%. So where did we get this 4,800,000? So this is actually the 40% of your sales. So this is amounting to 1,920,000. So the contribution margin or the cash contribution margin is equal to 2,880,000 if we will subtract our cash less our cash variable outlays. The next step that we will do is determine the contribution margin. Again, so to do that, so we had a cash margin or contribution margin of 2,880,000 from our computation a while ago, divided by the cash sales of 4,800,000. So we had the contribution margin rounded up to the nearest whole number of 60%. So now that we know our contribution margin, we will move on to the third part. So determine the break-even point. So to determine the break-even point, again, we will have the fixed monthly cash payment of 240,000 from the given, and then divided by the contribution margin of 60% based on our solution or our computation a while ago. So we have the cash break even, so we have 400,000 pesos. So this is how we get the cash break even. So these are the steps again in cash break even computation. Now that we discussed already the cash budget preparation, so we will move on to cash management model. To properly manage the cash requirements of the business, financial managers may use the cash management model. So we have the Bow-Moll model. We have also the Miller-Orr model. And the third one is the Stone model. For the benefit of our discussion, we will only discuss here the Bow-Moll model. So the Baumol cash model was introduced by William J. Baumol. It is an approach that establishes the optimum cash balance of the firm with certainty. So we had the following requirements. So the cash requirements are predicted by the business with certainty. Second is the cash payoffs are uniformly applied at regular interval for the period. The third one is the opportunity cost of holding cash is known and remains the same. And same transactions costs are incurred in the conversion of marketable security into cash. Again, so Baumol model is cash management model that trades off the opportunity cost and transaction costs of holding or carrying cash. So for our formula that we will use, so we have C asterisk is equal to the square root of 2TF all over K, such that C asterisk is equal to your cash or optimal cash balance, and T is the total amount of new cash needed for the period, and F is the fixed cost of converting trading marketable securities into cash of borrowing from bank, while K is the opportunity cost of handling cash. For our example number 2, so the total cash requirements of D10 company for paying its obligation and raw materials acquisition for the whole year is 5 million. The cost per transaction of trading marketable securities being converted into cash is 80 pesos. The marketable security carry an interest rate of 6%, which is foregone once marketable securities are converted into cash. Using the Baumol model, compute the optimum cash balance of D10 company. So what we're going to do is identify the given. So T is equal to 500,000 pesos. So that is the total amount of new cash needed for the period. F is equal to the fixed cost converting trading marketable securities into cash. Then we have K is the opportunity cost 6%, and we want to find out the C or the optimal cash balance. So applying the formula, we have the square root of 2TF divided by K. So we have 2 times 5 million times 8 divided by 6%. So the optimal cash balance is equal to 115,470 rounded up to the nearest whole number. Let's move on into the cash management techniques. So the cash management techniques focus on the following three major activities involving cash. So we have the cash collection receivables, payment of payables, and maintaining optimum cash balance. Remember that cash management techniques are directed towards these three business activities to avoid cash shortage or excessive cash surplus. These two extreme cash positions are not favorable to the growth of business. So let's move on to the first technique in cash management. So that is the collection from receivable. So the cash management techniques is very straightforward on the cash inflows activities from receivable. that is accelerating the collection of receivables. We have the following. So that is why you need to monitor closely the movements of your receivables. Then after that, prepare a schedule for the collection of individual customers' account and send accurate invoices promptly and indicate a correct return mailing address. Then we have increased the collection efficiency. So of course that if you can collect okay well, therefore that is for the betterment of your company. Letter E is offer discounts for early payments or payments made within the discount period to encourage more collection. And of course, finally, make a follow-up call when the account is already due. The next one is payment of payables. This technique is used to slow down the disbursement. So this is the opposite of what we discussed a while ago. So that is the collection of receivable. So it relates to the outflow of cash payments for operating expenses and manufacturing costs. So we can do the following. So we have the centralized processing of payables. Then we have pay through credit cards on the due dates whenever possible. Then maximize extensively the flow. And of course, delay payments through the use of drafts or checks to pay bills or zero balance accounts. The last technique that we will talk about for cash management is maintaining optimum cash balance. So the question is, will the business maintain too much or too little cash? So take note that the business should not maintain too much or too little cash, but rather maintain the required cash based on the expected cash flow for additional cash requirements. In case the business is experiencing cash shortage, it may adopt the following cash management techniques for additional cash requirements. So we have avail itself of a bank loan. Second is work for credit line with the bank. C is accelerate the collection of receivables. Then sell the assets, especially the non-performing assets of those held for speculations. And finally, delay the payment of payables. So that ends our discussion on cash management techniques. Again, this is Teacher Onen Guzman. Do not forget to subscribe to my channel so that you will be notified about my new videos. Thank you.